Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. This is a Muslimah's reflection. So today, before we get into it, y'all like my shirt? What it say? Jedhead to sharehead. Yes. What does it say? Strive and you shall witness. Yes, yes. So the message is always, my brothers and my sisters, we gonna struggle, we gonna strive, but we gonna witness, inshallah. Keep going. You know what I'm saying? This deen is a pathway of many paths, right? But only one true pathway in which we walk on. And speaking of that true pathway, we have a thing that we like to do, and we like to say that there's no thing of the bid'ah and good bid'ah, bad bid'ah. We confuse ourselves with this terminology because we think that we have this understanding. But we have our YouTube understanding and you know what I'm saying, and our not our knowledgeable living teacher types of understanding and book understanding. You understand what I'm saying? So our ACO is not really activated in the way in which, and so we become confused and we get misguided and we promote misguidance a lot of times because we don't understand. And sometimes we're just so tunnel visioned and straight minded and straightforward and just this is this, that we don't understand that there is a vastness of knowledge to be learned in the world, not just in our deen, but in the world in itself. And once you have that understanding that your way is not the only way, and you are able to open up yourself, you receive so much knowledge and so much wisdom that is beneficial for you. But when you are closed off and very rigid in your thinking, you could become what they call you have that narcissistic mentality in your thinking and in your behavior and dealing with other people's thought processes and opinions. And sometimes we project, our feelings onto others, right? And we feel like that is the right way because that is what we understand, right? But that is not correct. We have great scholars of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah for a reason. Allah Azza wa Jal preserved Islam the way He preserved Islam, with whom He preserved Islam with, for a reason. Just as though He allowed the misguidance to show you the way, the differences of the pathway in which you should follow. But so many of us are confused and we think that we know and we don't know. For example, here she go again. I'm going to go again because this at the end of this reflection, you will see a bigger picture than just this simple little thought or idea or intention. And the intention I'm speaking about is Juma Mubarak, a phrase that means to have a blessed Friday, in which there's nothing wrong to say. But we confuse that with a bid'ah that will lead us to the hellfire because of the hadith that says every innovation, every bid'ah is a misguidance. And every misguidance leads us to the hellfire. The word is kula, kulu, right? In Arabic. Allah Azza wa Jal in Surah Al-Azab 46:25, He says kula, He destroyed everything except their dwellings. So in destroying everything, does that mean everything was destroyed? But He said except their dwellings. So when you want to get literal in things, does it make sense? Because Allah Azza wa Jal warns us about the allegorical verses within the Quran, not to take those literally and not to take your imagination elsewhere. Because what you imagine about Allah Azza wa Jal is impossible for Allah Azza wa Jal. Because we tend to imagine Him in a humanistic way. That is impossible, my brothers and my sisters. And in saying that, we have to understand the meanings of these words and the intent. And so in order to understand meanings and intent, we must understand the history and the reasoning behind those things. And how do we do that? We follow a chain of narration, an isnad, right? An unbroken chain in which our deen is explained to us. So we have textual explanations from great scholars with examples and proofs on how to go. We have a history of unbroken chains in Al-Sunnah wal Jama'ah. However, we have so many people here today that challenges the mujtahids, these New Age scholars that are not even a part of the Salaf Salihin, which is the first 300 years, by the way. But yet, you have the audacity to challenge those who Allah Azza wa Jal gave authority over us? Make it make sense. Imam Shafi'i, rahimahullah, said it himself, 2 types of bid'ah, good and bad. Look at it for yourself. It's on the screen. We can read, right? Because we should be reading and not just watching videos and parroting what we hear. Allah Azza wa Jal gave intellect for a reason. But so many of us are comfortable with just letting someone else think for us because we are afraid to go within. Right? Listen. Imam, look at the screen. Imam Shafi'i and a list of others. Notice the dates of death. Islamic dates of death. That is how we follow our chain of narration. Notice those dates. Imam Shafi'i is a part of those 300 years. And he himself made the statement, 2 types of bid'ah. If we want to go back even further, our Khalifate, Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu, he himself stated in this hadith you see. What did he say? It's underlined. What a good bid'ah. What a good, excellent innovation. And what does that mean? What was he referring to? Tarawih. Tarawih. Yet we perform that religiously, and it's a good bid'ah. But when it comes to the phrase Juma Mubarak, we like to say, there's no such thing as a good and bad bid'ah because so and so. Who said what? Are you quoting scholars that are not even considered to be mujtahids? Because a mujahid and a mujtahid is not the same. A mujahid is one who strives, right? The closest of Allah Azza wa Jal, right? They are perfecting their inner and outer. And how do you do that? By practicing the 3 branches of the deen. But a mujtahid is one who has mastered all of the Islamic sciences. In addition to being a hafiz of the Quran, in addition to that, memorized over 400,000 hadiths. Do you know how many hadiths that is? 400,000 with their chains of narrations. There is not, ladies and gentlemen, which means one hadith can have 10 people in that chain. That person knows every person in that chain, the hadith from beginning to the end. 400,000 of them. Yet you have people of this 100,000, the last 400 years or so, challenging people of the 300 years in their statements And you want to sit here and tell me that you're following the Salaf Salihin, yet you challenge their works and their words and their statements? And on to top that, Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah is a descendant of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Just like Ibn Abbas, right? And look at the level of intelligence of them. Yet you have people in this new era questioning people like that, and you call them scholars. Please tell me something. Make it make sense to me, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm a little bit confused here. Because, is there not a such thing as good and bad innovation? If that's the case, then why are you using thicker beads? Why do you have a prayer rug and feel like you can't pray without that prayer rug religiously? That is not a prophetic sunnah. They didn't have no prayer rugs, thicker beads in their time. Nor did they call themselves Salafi or Salaf for that matter. Yet, those innovations are permissible. But a simple, small little dua. Have a blessed Friday, my brother, my sister. I wish you well. I pray for your goodness. Eid is a Friday. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said so. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam said so. That every Friday for a Muslim is an Eid. So you telling me I can't be happy? I can't be happy about this day? I'm doing something wrong. Because Allah Azza wa Jal tells me that who never know, I can say a word of goodness that'll get me a reward. I can say something bad from my tongue that'll get me a punishment. So is me telling you to have a blessed Friday, the blessed or the best day of the week, am I doing something wrong to you? But you want to push your agenda of bid'ah. But your bid'ah is okay. Your bid'ah is just fine. You have justifications for your bid'ah. But we have scholars, ulama, from the Salaf that's telling us something different. Telling us this is okay. We have a Khalifate confirming the good bid'ah. Oh, but it's only for Taraweeh, ladies and gentlemen. Only for the Taraweeh. Do you see the plain contradictions within your doctrine? Yet, we follow so religiously, right? Make it make sense to me. Make it make sense. Allah Azza wa Jal didn't make this deen difficult. He tells us that it's easy. You make it difficult. We as human beings make it difficult. Good words get you good rewards. Bad words may get you a punishment. Simple as that. Me telling you to have a blessed day, have a blessed Tuesday. Am I committing a bid'ah then too? Have a blessed Monday, ladies and gentlemen. Today's Saturday, y'all. Have a blessed Saturday. If I knew I forgot the word in Arabic. I'm still learning. But if I knew it, I would say it right now. But I can't remember. But you get my point, right? I'm just saying though. Make it make sense to me. We got so many, but I bet you, and the ones that are going so hard for this, can you name your third iron off the back? What are the conditions of, what are the shurut? What is your shurut regarding salah wudu? What are the five rulings? How many is that? What do we derive our sources of Islamic law from? Can you name that without watching a video or parenting what somebody else done told you to say? Have you learned it within? That's the thing, what I'm saying. See, people think knowledge is watching a video. No, knowledge is what you have within. Allah Azza wa Jalla. What do you have within you? What is your rule is telling you? Is your rule telling you to be combative? Is your rule telling you to not keep striving, keep struggling, keep witnessing, keep doing what's right? Or is your rule telling you to keep following the pathway of the majority that leads you to the hellfire while you talking about that hadith there, right? Let us think about those types of things. Because, what does your chain of narration start? Can you give me a chain of narration that goes all the way back to Sayyiduna Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, unbrokenly? Listed, I have a few. You done seen it a few times. But here, what do you see? This chain of narration. And this ain't even all of them. This is just a few. This is just a few. But it's unbroken chains of narration where we learn from living teacher to living teacher. The connections. Where's your connections? Where does your connection start at the Salaf Salihin? All the way up until today? Can you give me a connection? Can you provide me with that? YouTube don't provide that for you, does it? No. Reading. What was the command? What was the first thing that Allah Azza wa Jal told Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Iqra. Read, ladies and gentlemen. Read. Not watch TV, but read.